Welcome to Landria Onkka on YouTube, here to help you break through those fears, to start living an awesome life. The one that you deserve, the one that you want. You go, why am I not living an awesome life? Well, it shows up once in a while, right? You say, oh, life is great, I love it. Yes, life is beautiful. And then something happens and then you're tested. And then all of a sudden the faith and the life is great goes out the window. Why? Because we're being controlled by the outside world. So we really don't have a grip on our spirituality. Sorry, I just took a run and I am sweating. Sorry about that, but taking my tennis shoes off while I talk to you because I've got a lot to do today, and I wanted to get a couple really what I felt were important subjects out. This one is about loving yourself. All right, so let's talk about that. I don't love myself. Do you love yourself? How can you love or not love yourself when you are yourself and there is only one thing, and the one thing is pure love, and the highest frequency of that, of which you are, loves you unconditionally. So how can you not love yourself? And why are we talking about ourselves in the second person? Really? All right. So I don't love myself. Do you love yourself? Do you genuinely look at yourself and think, wow, whew, I got lucky. I'm good looking and smart. I had all the breaks that I could get. I had challenges that were, well, actually pretty awesome. And I've always landed on my feet, and I'm smart and people love me. Or do you say, oh, I love myself, but then you're thinking, gosh, I wish my butt wasn't so wide, or I wish I was taller, or I wish I had broad shoulders. I wish I was more athletic. The girls would love me more. I wish that I was smarter. I wish I was more ambitious. I wish I didn't come from, poverty. I wish I came from a family that encouraged me. I wish I had more confidence. Doesn't sound like you love yourself if you're thinking any of those things. I wish I was prettier, skinnier, younger. I wish I was young again. Yeah, then it would be good. But then when you were there, you were not thinking such great things either. You were thinking, gosh, I can't wait till I get older so I'm not dealing with all this, growing up stuff. All right, so why are we talking about ourselves in the second person? Because we ultimately are in our head. You know that you aren't that person. You know that this facade that you have, this energy, this role that you're playing here, really isn't you. It's an energetic imprint of a experience of you. It's the role that you chose to play here. So you is not that. So when I don't love myself, you know that you are something separate from that, and you're viewing it as a separate person. You're actually looking at that person that you believe you are, and you may not like what you're seeing. You're separating yourself. The ego is actually being very, let's say, critical of that person that you want to be. So it separates itself. It criticizes itself. The ego, that energy, saying, here's the being that you are. Here's this entity that you are in this reality, in this plane, in this dimension. Look at you. Who would love you? Right? All of that's the material world. All of it's the ego, all of it. And you, when you talk about yourself and the other party, know that you're really not that. You know that there's something that you are that isn't all of that. But when you're entrenched in your ego, you view it from the ego's controlling standpoint. So the real you over here knows that there's something greater, that knows that there's something beautiful. But the ego is so in control that it's taking control of that viewpoint and criticizing you, the entity that came here in that body, in that personality. Now let's just take responsibility here. You are everything. You are one thing. You chose this role. So let's start with that. If you're not liking what you are, not only did you choose the role, but you're making choices as to what you do with it and what you think of it. You control those thoughts. If you don't like what you see, then you have to ask yourself why you've gotten so attached to this material world and that role that you're playing that you haven't connected to what you really are, because what you really are knows that there are no boundaries, and that you picked that role, that background, that poverty, that short guy who maybe, he's got to work a little bit harder, or maybe he has to develop a sense of humor. He's the funny guy now, or maybe he's got a great personality because he doesn't have to he's not relying on his looks. And the girl's like, you know what, hey, maybe you're the great cook, the really smart one, or the whatever. We all come with these gifts. And if you're picking on the pieces that you don't like, you so missed the point of that role that you chose when you came here. Now, I picked a really easy one this time, purposely, because I've had some real challenges in other lifetimes, big ones, big ones. And I decided, I must have done a good job. I decided that I was going to do something a little bit different this time. I was going to pick great parents, a pretty smooth childhood. I was very good at school. I was a quick learner. People liked me because I came from a loving family that taught me to respect and love other people. And yes, I had my own challenges and things to overcome along the way, including the material world and the importance that we place on it. I had all those things I had to go through. But that's part of experiencing being human. It's realizing, that didn't make me happy, but experiencing the things and the luxuries and all this stuff and going, okay, it's cool. It'd be nice to have that stuff, but that's not what I want. I got to experience that. And travel and all the other wonderful things that you come here to do, and you can do all of that. Nothing stops you from that. And, health or whatever. You chose, if you come into health challenges, that was what you chose to overcome. That was the gift that you brought on to say, okay, I decided I was going to have some health challenges. Maybe I find my way to become a healer. Maybe I show other people how to heal themselves by doing it myself. Dr. Joe Dispenza did that. Never would have been the spiritual speaker that he is. I'm convinced of that because he was a biker. He had another path he was going to take, and when he got his back busted up in an accident and was told that he probably wouldn't walk again, if he did it was going to be difficult and he had to get rods put in his back, he refused that. And he decided, because he was interested in all the metaphysical things he already had an interest in, he decided to read up and study this, and he was convinced that the mind could cure the body. He knew this, and he did it. And now he has spent a lifetime trying to figure out what that was, and other people who've done it, and how other people can learn how to do it. And he teaches us, and I've been to his events, and they're just fabulous. And it comes from within, it comes from the mind. And it's all focused on what we need to accomplish in this life that can take us past those challenges. So if you think that you don't have advantages, you so didn't get it. You so didn't get what you chose. I should probably put a light on. It's getting a little dark. Oh yeah, that's right, we had daylight savings time. Hold on. Sorry, nobody wants to look at the top of my head. Okay. Yeah, it's going to get darker quick. All right, so what is it you don't love about yourself? You don't like the way you act. Maybe you're not maybe you're clumsy, you know, maybe when you're in your room, you're not funny, and there's always some friend that's, everybody thinks she's so cute and funny. Those people have their challenges too. None of us gets out of that. We all come here with our challenges and our mission. I'm going to tell you what, I was going to go through life just having fun. I was just going to go on to the next really cool fun thing. And then I had a little visit from one of my masters. I'll just call him a master, who asked me a question. And I thought, oh, I almost got away with it. I almost got to just come here and have fun and then die. But that was not why I chose to come here, and he reminded me of that. He actually asked me, he said, why did you come? I'll never forget this, is the most bizarre statement. Why did you come down here to be with us? To be with us? That kind of question is, why did I come down here to be with us? Like I was separate? So I don't know what I am or what I came from, but obviously I came down here with a mission. So he allowed me, he took my hand, I touched his robe, I believe. I can't remember if I touched him or he turned me around, and he showed me literally millions and millions of people who paid no attention to us. And I got to experience what he felt. And it was unbelievable. It's how God sees us and what God feels, if we can put human terms on that. It was a love beyond anything. And he felt that for all of these strangers out there. It's tough to love a stranger when we can't even love ourselves, right? Well, I love myself. I always have. I've always felt very good. I've had that reinforced. I received a lot of love. There's a reason for that. I was being prepped to come into this to share what I know and have learned. And then what I've done with that to even take it further so that I could be a teacher to other people. If I came in damaged, I spent a whole lifetime trying to fix that, I would not be of service to you. So I came here with some very good foundations. I love myself. I never even think about loving myself. I just knew that I was worthy. I always knew I was worthy. I always knew that I was loved. I always knew that I loved. I always felt compassion. I always wanted to do the right thing. I always wanted to do the kind thing. And yes, of course I have not lived my life like that. I've done things. Of course we all have. Part of the learning, part of the ouch, didn't feel good. But some of you do that and you don't let it go. You go, oh my gosh, I was an itch to that person, and you're like beating yourself up for the rest of your life. Or maybe you were a real jackass for years. Can you learn from that and turn it around? Maybe you've done some really nasty stuff. I know some of you have been in prison before. Big deal. So what? Where are you right now? Who are you right now? What are you going to do with that? Very valuable experience. That very valuable, deep, dark place you went to, that you can tell people what it feels like to go that dark place. I can't go in and talk to some, thief or drug addict or rapist or murderer. I can relate. Yeah, I know, I've been there. I can't. You may be able to do that. You can go and say, here's how I turned it around. It feels good now. I have self-worth. I'm valued. I am loved. And you are too. And I'm going to help you get there. And you don't have to live like this. And you can get out of that prison. Those of you with the health issues, you can get people and say, you know what? We're sick because we're making ourselves sick. Because we are energy. And when we are thinking negative thoughts constantly about ourselves or others, that negativity is infusing our almost all water body, of which is just sheer energy, that's reacting to that. Every single cell, every single molecule reacts to that message you're sending it of negativity, and it starts to break down. Oh, it's a good thing I got in here. It's pouring down out there. So, do you understand this? Then you say, okay, I was given some health challenges. I'm going to find out how this works. I'm going to turn it around, and maybe I become a healer. Maybe you start to study Reiki, or what's the one? Who was it? Oh, Joe. Is it Joe? Are you the one that thinks I need to be, you know, some guru master of all these things? Why? You go do that, and then you can share that information with us. Instead of criticizing people, you can share that information with people. Go study Buddhism and Reiki and all these other things and share that information. I'm here to help you guys. You all have those gifts to go study those things and master something that you love. Oh, I Ching. Is it I Ching? Where they do the energy? A lot of energy healing that goes with that. I would love to study that. That looks like something very cool. So take something that really appeals to you and say, okay, this is going to help me. And through that, I can show other people. You know, if you don't feel like you're attractive, be the best that you can, and know that there's somebody else out there just like you that's going to not only see that you're beautiful, but you're going to be two beautiful people together, because you're not relying on looks and the approval of the world, running around getting surgery and whatever else everybody else does because they just don't love themselves. And I'm not discouraging that if that's what you need to do, but make sure it's coming from a positive place. Right? Can you handle this challenge without resorting to the material world, without resorting to the approval and all the other things? Can you go within and say, I am pure love. I'm already all that. Here's the role I chose. What am I going to do with that? Oh, you guys with the abusive parents, nasty parents? Oh, I know what your mission is. Forgiveness. Because you don't love yourself because you haven't forgiven that person. And when you forgive, oh, I've got, who was it? You know who you are. You forgave your parents. A couple of you have done that. And shocked the parents. And they became new people, and you lifted that burden because they're walking around hating themselves. You think they aren't? They are. But that ego won't allow them to admit that. They keep up this front. Trust me, they're not feeling good about what they've done. And they don't need you to tell them what they've done. But forgiveness will go a long way, and it will free that energy that's blocking you. That's just, and then you can't manifest when you've got all that negative energy and anger and hate or whatever else is in there that's stopping you from pushing your energy out into positive places. If you don't love yourself, then your ego's talking. If you just feel good, or maybe you experience things and you're not talking about yourself in the second person, then you are connected to your spirit. And that may have some, lower and higher frequencies. And hopefully you'll connect to what you really are. It's already there. Just sort of decide that you're done with the darkness. It's a little getting dark in here. Just put on a light. Shine it on yourself. So, if you don't love you, the only thing that is criticizing that is you. And if you think anybody else and what they think or whatever, if they're doing that and you feel it's coming from somebody else, they are not in a good place themselves. They're not feeling good about themselves. They don't love themselves, because only a loving person would come from a non-judgmental, see the beauty in everybody. Anybody else who's criticizing you for not being smart enough, tall enough, fit enough, skinny enough, pretty enough, handsome enough, smart enough, all that stuff is coming from their own dark place. They're already thinking about these things themselves, and they love to criticize because it puts them in a higher place. They know they're the better one. That's just another ego talking. And because you're already in that second party criticizing yourself, you make yourself weak. You're a great target for that ego that can attack you. Give it all up. It doesn't exist. Boom, it's gone. It's just this made up crap in your head that there's some second person thing that, values or doesn't value or places you in certain place. You're an absolute, perfect, beautiful light being. And by the way, a minute from now, everybody is going to be those light beings and going, ooh, wow, you're this beautiful light being, and I was saying some pretty nasty stuff about you based on the material world because I felt it gave me power because I was feeling bad about myself. And then you guys are going, oh gosh, we're going to have to go back and do that again. Don't go back and do that again. Correct it now. You have a chance. You're perfect. Be your best at every moment. When you catch yourself criticizing somebody else, know that your ego's just feeling pretty bad about yourself. That's all that is. You're feeling bad about yourself. You need to spew some garbage out to somebody else. Bless everybody else. Bless them. If you bless them, they're getting a message. At some point, they're going to turn things around when they get enough of those messages from enough people that bless them. Doesn't it feel good to bless somebody else instead of criticize them? I don't want to hurt anybody else, ever, or anything. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't. Even sometimes I have recently felt I had to do something in a situation where we had to really sort of put ourselves in a position where we had to tell the truth about something, to put the light on it, to sort of protect some other people that didn't have that information. Let's just put it that way. And even that didn't feel good, but I knew it was the right thing to do. But it was coming from good intentions. It was coming from a good place. And sometimes you'll have to experience that. Doing the right thing. Sticking up for somebody in the most peaceful, positive way. Sometimes you have to do some things that don't feel so good, but your intentions are good. You're not coming from a, ego trying to hurt somebody else, or sometimes, most of the time, we don't have to say anything ever. So ask yourself, sit there and say, am I being my best? Do I need to tell somebody something? Is it going to hurt them? When you feel bad about yourself, you usually have done a bunch of stuff that just that accumulative energy starts to load you up. And if it's coming from somebody else, same thing. That's okay. Forgive that. Forgive it. That's a tough job. And start loving you. And at some point, you won't love you. I love me. You're just going to be love. You're going to realize you're just part of the one entity and that you are love. And you look at the mirror and you go, okay, this is what I was given. I'm lucky. I got really thick hair. Sometimes it's, as you know, it's like being a Muppet. I love it. I'm so thankful. I'm thankful for everything. And when I don't feel so thankful, I'm grateful anyways, because I know there's something I need to do with that. I got to catch myself just like any other human being and say, okay, whew, there was a old thought, old habit. The ego automatically gravitates toward the worry and the negativity. It thinks it's protecting you. It's okay. It's going to hang around, but you don't have to listen to it anymore. And if it doesn't love you, that's okay. You don't have to listen to that either. You are perfect. You are whole, strong, powerful, loving, harmonious, and happy. You can claim that anytime you want, because that is what you are. And I love you. You are loved unconditionally. Know that. It may not feel like it here. We have density to deal with. That's part of it. That's part of our challenge. Take it on, welcome it, and become your beautiful light being self and share that with the world. Namaste.